The chandeliers of the Olo mansion in Ikoyi glowed with a cold brilliance as Chief Musa Olo paced the polished marble floor. His egbada swished with each stride, his silence heavier than any lecture about duty or reputation. Across the long dining table, Zainab Olo sat rigid, fingers trembling against a velvet chair. She knew something was wrong. Then his voice, sharp and brittle. "Halima is gone." Her heart thudded. Gone. She took her passport, her phone, and one of the jets. She's left Lagos days before her wedding to Chijioke Dike. The chandelier didn't flicker, but the air did. Zainab's pulse raced. "Have you told the Dike family?" "They must never know." "Not yet." He stopped pacing, eyes narrowing with command. "You will take her place." Zainab shot to her feet. "Father, I'm not Halima. I can't deceive a man into marriage." "You will." He cut in, his tone iron. "This is not about love. It is about alliance. About legacy. Do you want the Olo name dragged through Lagos gossip? Do you want the foundation ruined?" Memories of a little bakery in Surulere, warm bread, jazz humming in the background, cardamom in the air, flashed before her. That was her world. Not Banana Island. Not billionaires. "You were raised for grace, not flour and sugar," her father pressed. "You'll go tomorrow. Play your part until Halima is found. Then you may disappear again." Disappear, as if she were disposable, as if her identity could be shelved for family honor. Zainab swallowed, staring into the chandelier's unforgiving glow. Her heart whispered rebellion, but her father's command rang louder. There's no choice, only duty. The chopper descended onto the Banana Island helipad, blades whipping the manicured palms into a frenzy. Below her, the Dike estate stretched like a billionaire's dream. Ivory pillars, koi ponds, marble fountains, security guards in black suits standing like statues. Zainab stepped out in stilettos that pinched Halima's shoes, not hers. Sunglasses shielded her panic as a steward bowed. "Madam Olo, welcome. Mr. Dike is expecting you." Inside, glass doors opened without a sound, revealing a world that smelled of Polish and old money. Minimalist halls lined with bold Nigerian art, imported Italian tiles, silence that pressed against her chest. And then Chijioke Dike appeared, taller than she imagined, broad-shouldered in a dark navy egbada embroidered with silver. His presence filled the room before his voice did. "So, you're the bride who's been avoiding me." Zainab's throat tightened. Unexpected family obligations delayed me. He studied her, eyes sharp, unreadable. "You look different, softer." His lips curled faintly. An upgraded version. She couldn't tell if it was insult or compliment. "I hope I meet your expectations, Mr. Dike." "Expectations," he echoed, turning away. "We'll see." A steward guided her upstairs. When the double doors opened, her new room left her breathless. A crystal chandelier like a crown. A plush bed larger than her Surulere flat. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the shimmering lagoon. Alone, she pressed her palm to the glass. Yachts bobbed beyond the gardens, lights twinkling against Lagos waters. This wasn't her life. It was Halima's, stitched together with lies. As dusk settled, her heart whispered what her lips dared not. "I am trapped in silken silence." Morning broke over Banana Island, the lagoon glittering gold beneath the sun. Inside the Dike mansion, seamstresses and florists buzzed with urgency. Zainab stood before 3 mirrors in a gown chosen for Halima. Champagne silk, crystals stitched like stars, a train that whispered across the floor. She looked like royalty, yet felt like a thief. Chief Musa Olo entered in a regal egbada of deep blue. Adjusting her veil, he whispered, "You are an Olo. Make us proud." It wasn't encouragement. It was command. The ceremony unfolded at the lagoon-side chapel in Ikoyi, chandeliers sparkling above stained-glass windows. The elite of Lagos filled the pews, governors, Nollywood stars, tycoons draped in lace and beads. Violinists played as the doors opened, and all eyes turned to her. On Chief Musa's arm, Zainab walked slowly, veil thin enough to reveal her trembling face. The air was thick with perfume and whispers. At the altar, Chijioke Dike waited in a black tuxedo, calm yet piercing in gaze. When their eyes met, something unexpected flickered in his. wonder, perhaps. It nearly broke her stride. Do you, Chijioke Dike, take this woman, Halima Yuzoamika Olo, as your wife? I do, he said smoothly. Her turn. And you, Halima Yuzoamika Olo, the officiant asked. Her chest burned. The truth pressed against her throat, but duty weighed heavier. I do. Applause rose like thunder. Cameras flashed. The violinist struck a high note as Chijioke's lips brushed haze, brief, measured. And in that stolen moment, the lie became law. Zainab Olo was now Mrs. Dike. The Eko Atlantic ballroom glittered like a palace in the clouds. Crystal chandeliers dangled above gold-rimmed tables overflowing with roses, orchids, and exotic dishes. Lagos's elite, politicians, oil barons, Nollywood icons, paraded in jewel-toned lace and Italian suits. Zainab sat beside Chijioke, her new husband, her ring heavy on her finger. Every toast rang with her sister's name, Halima, each syllable a stab of guilt. She smiled, nodded, played her role. But inside, she felt like glass cracking under pressure. When the band shifted to a slow Afro-soul ballad, Chijioke extended his hand. Dance with me. His voice was calm, unreadable. She rose, her legs unsteady. In his arms, the world faded into chandeliers and violins. Are you still nervous? He asked, his breath brushing her ear. Yes, she admitted softly. I don't mind. It's refreshing. You're quieter, softer, not the sharp-tongued woman I expected. His hand tightened slightly at her waist. I think I prefer this version of you. Her throat tightened. The compliment warmed and wounded at once. He didn't see her. He saw a ghost she wasn't meant to be. As they swayed, his gaze never left her. Measured, curious. Maybe, she whispered, people change. Later, when they returned to the Banana Island mansion, rose petals trailed across their suite, candles flickering against glass walls. Zainab froze at the sight, her heart pounding. Chijioke glanced at the display and sighed, loosening his tie. Ignore all this. It's for show. You must be exhausted. Her eyes widened. You're not expecting. He looked at her, patience softening his expression. This marriage is business. You don't need to prove anything tonight. Relief washed over her like rain. But when he added, still, I want to know this new you, Zainab's breath caught, because a lie was already becoming real. By Monday, the Banana Island mansion returned to its rhythm. Guards at the gates, staff gliding through marble corridors, silence heavy as glass. Yet to Zainab, every sound echoed. The sweep of brooms, the clink of silver trays, her own uneasy footsteps. She was now Madame Dike, though the title felt foreign on her tongue. Each time a steward bowed, the name burned like an ill-fitting dress. Breakfast was served in the sunlit solarium, orchids glowing in the morning light. Dishes of akara, yam porridge, sliced papaya filled the table. Chijioke sat at the far end, reading a digital paper, his calm as sharp as steel. Good morning, she offered. He nodded once. Morning. When she sat across from him, he raised a brow. We're married now. You don't need to sit so far. Heat rushed to her cheeks. She slid 3 seats closer. He folded the paper, finally meeting her gaze. I'll be in Ikoyi for meetings. My driver is at your disposal. Oh, he paused. Stay here, explore, make it yours. She forced a smile. I'll try. But the mansion felt less like a home than a museum. Cold, untouched, guarded. Later, Mama Efima, the housekeeper, gave her a tour through the glass-walled library stacked with poetry and history, past oil paintings and silent pianos. This house used to be warmer, Mama Efima said softly, before Chief Dike passed. He filled it with laughter, music, people. Now, she sighed, now it is only walls and rules. That evening, Zainab joined Chijioke for dinner, draped in emerald silk. She tried to spark conversation. I explored the library today. He looked up, surprised. You read? She nodded. Poetry, cookbooks. I used to bake. For the first time, curiosity flickered in his eyes. Bake? I thought you studied design. Her breath hitched. That was Halima's lie. left it behind. It wasn't fulfilling. He studied her quietly. Then, interesting. This is the first time I've heard you admit that. The silence returned, but it was no longer empty. It was curious. Days slipped by like shadows across the lagoon. Zainab settled into a rhythm she never asked for, mornings pacing the rose garden, afternoons in the library, evenings staring from the marble balcony at yachts drifting across the water. Chijioke remained elusive. Some mornings he was gone before dawn, other days he shared coffee in silence. At night, he vanished into his private study, a room locked by shadows and secrets. One evening, she brought him tea. He looked up from blueprints scattered across his desk, eyes tired but softer than usual. "I didn't hear you come in," he said. "You were lost in thought," she replied, setting the tray down. Her gaze caught on a frame tucked behind papers, a smiling younger Chijioke with his late father. "You looked happy then," she said quietly. He paused, eyes darkening. That was before the takeover, before the pressure. "You don't have to carry it alone," she offered, her voice gentle. "If you ever want to talk, I'll listen." He studied her for a long moment, as if weighing her truth. "You've changed," he murmured. "You surprise me." She smiled faintly. "Maybe you never looked close enough." That night, lying in the vast bed, she stared at the ceiling. This wasn't a role anymore. The walls between them were thinning, and against her will, she was beginning to feel, for a man who didn't know her name. By morning, Lagos rain swept across Banana Island, droplets racing down glass walls. The mansion felt like a fortress against the storm. But inside, something fragile had begun to stir, like a flame flickering in a house that had forgotten fire. The storm rolled in from the Atlantic, rain thrashing against the glass walls of the Banana Island mansion. That night, Zainab found Chijioke in his study, seated by a fireplace she hadn't seen lit before. The flames painted his face in shades of gold and shadow. "My father built this," he said, eyes on the fire. "He believed every home needed warmth. I haven't used it in years." She sat across from him, tucking her robe close. Silence stretched, broken only by crackling logs and distant thunder. Then his voice, low but steady. "Why did you agree to marry me?" Her chest tightened. "Sometimes we agree to things to protect others." "Who are you protecting?" His gaze pierced her, searching. She hesitated. "My family, myself, maybe even you." He leaned back, head resting against the chair, as if her answer unsettled him. "I made peace with this arrangement," he said. "I never expected love, only stability." Her pulse raced. And now? For the first time, his guard slipped. His eyes, tired yet open, met hers. "Now I find myself wondering who you really are. You're not the woman I was warned about. You're calmer, thoughtful, gentle." Her throat burned. She wanted to scream the truth, but the lie chained her tongue. Instead, she whispered, "Maybe we're both pretending less now." Something shifted in the air between them. He stood, crossing the room slowly, stopping before her. The firelight framed his broad shoulders, his face unreadable yet softened. "Will you dance with me?" he asked, voice almost vulnerable. Zainab's breath caught. In the hush of rain and flame, she rose, placing her hand in his. For the first time, their silence felt alive. Rain lashed against the mansion's tall windows, thunder rumbling over the lagoon. Inside the study, firelight flickered across marble and bookshelves as Zainab let Chijioke draw her into a slow dance. At first, her body was stiff, guarded, but his hand at her back was steady, his gaze softer than she had ever seen. For once, the billionaire who commanded boardrooms and politicians looked almost human. "You feel different," he murmured, studying her face. Her lips curled faintly. "Maybe I am." His eyes searched haze, and for a terrifying heartbeat, she thought he saw her, not Halima, not the false bride, but Zainab, the woman who baked bread in Surulere, who never belonged in chandeliers and silks. She swallowed, breaking his gaze. "Why me?" she whispered. "Because," he said after a pause, "when you're near, the house doesn't feel so cold." The word struck deep. Her chest ached with guilt and longing tangled as one. Every step of this dance was a lie, yet her heart betrayed her, beating too fast, Too loud. When the music of rain and fire filled the silence again, she closed her eyes, letting the moment linger, though it frightened her more than rejection, because closeness meant discovery, and discovery meant ruin. The storm outside raged on, but inside, something fragile bloomed between them, dangerous, undeniable, and alive. As his hand lingered in haze, Zainab knew the truth was no longer her greatest enemy. It was a possibility that he might actually fall for her, and she for him,